Hey everybody, it is my first time presenting my trading to everybody, and this is going to be a live event every day. And because it is the first session, it's going to be me figuring things out a whole bunch. And my trading platform that I was hoping to use is not working at the moment. But I do plan on starting every day out with a little prayer, so I'm just going to start there first. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for today. I thank you for another day to be alive and to come into the markets and do the things that I like to do, and also share the things that I like to do with everybody else that wants to watch and have a look and participate with me. Is these things I ask. I thank you so much for your grace and your mercy, and your goodness to me and my family. And I thank you so much in the name of Yeshua. Amen. So I'm going to start this out with a top-down analysis of the market. And I'm just going to try and make sure that I've got my MT5 scene running. I'm hoping to be doing all this on Alveo, my hedge fund platform. Unfortunately, I'm just having a bit of trouble with it this morning. I was trying to uninstall and reinstall, and it's just still struggling a bit. So I'm going to just start today out at least on time and do this on MT5. So I like to start my trading days out by doing a top-down analysis on the daily charts. So this is the euro dollar, which I trade every day. And just clear these charts off. Okay, so for the past few weeks, the market really has been still in consolidation. Well, really for a few months now, actually. This is what we're looking at. I just use these tools here. But this is the consolidation area in here for the past few months that the euro dollar has just been staying in. And that was all the way back really into June when we had a bit of a bull run through the summer. And then through the holidays, we've had a really slow start to January. It seems like there's just been the first few weeks of January have been really slow coming back in. I actually have never experienced it so slow at this stage in January before. Last week was, actually Friday was the slowest I've ever seen. Actually in 10 years. I've been trading the euro dollar for 10 years now, and it was the slowest I've ever seen in January last week. So that kind of says a lot. But here we are on the daily chart. Through the holidays, it's kind of been trending down the past couple weeks here. So I'll probably lean towards the short side a little, but also something I've noticed over the past few weeks in January is the start of the market open. I've noticed these big runs. So I'm going to just go down into the hourly chart. And I'm having trouble with my MT5 not loading to the right spot either, which is kind of weird. I gotta try and figure that out. But, so here's the market open for this week. And this is something that's been happening at the start of each week. it just took off and ran 60 pips almost straight up from the market open. And then if you look back over here, this is the start of the week before. Almost the exact same thing. That was 75 pips. And then again over, right over here. That was the start of the year. So on the third week, that was 80 pips. And we just did it again at the start of this week. So interesting pattern for January. Just over 60 pips. So the initial start of the market is a bullish entry into the market. But over the past few weeks, it has still been trending downward. So that for me says I can really just play both sides, or at least I'm comfortable with trading both sides of the market, because we're just kind of at a midpoint right now, and the market hasn't decided where it wants to go. So I will drop down some time frames here. Here's the 5-minute chart. And over here, we're now in a consolidation through the night, or through the Asian and the London session, kind of in this consolidation zone. And that is about a 27 pip consolidation, which that is starting to tell me that the participants are starting to come back into the market, because from here to here, this is the London session open. We're still in the London session, but this is how it opened, and it moved 30 pips, which is more than it has done throughout the past few weeks in January. So that's the most I've seen. That is a good indication that people are starting to come back into the market and bring volatility, which is what we want, trading the markets. So that's a good sign. But we are right in the middle of the consolidation on the short term and in the longer hour chart as well. This account that I'm trading is a prop account. It's an FTMO account. It is down a few dollars. It's a 10K evaluation account. So I'm just down about $30 in it right now. Last week I took a couple losses, and then that dropped me down a couple $100, and then I brought it back up right at the end of last week. So I'm almost back at break even now. It's good enough for me. I mean, it really just is where it is. And so the way that I like to trade is, this is what I call active risk management. And so I don't really use my stop losses as an exit. I use manual exit, manual market closes for my exits on losses, and I generally speaking use take profits as an exit for profit. So I'm going to just start out by doing that, and I'll just kind of explain as I go. So I'll start out with some shorts, as this is the 5-minute chart. I'm going to go down to the 1-minute chart now. And here we are, this big consolidation phase. And starting to bump back into these highs over here. And I need to mark out a few levels so that I know exactly where I'm going to trade over the next session, for the next hour or two. So these are some key levels that I've got these lines on here, the consolidation zones. When it breaks out of there, it's likely going to head in that direction once it crosses these lines, unless we get a fake out. So I will play the shorts at the top of this and the longs at the bottom of this range. And I need to go back out a little, because it looks like if it breaks on either side, there's a good chance it could run pretty far, which is going to cause some problems for me if I'm on the wrong side of that. So in this case, I've got actually some more points to work with on the downside because the market opened bullish and it's been heading upward. I'm going to probably go with the most recent pressure and stay to the long side for now until it breaks down here. Then I'll switch over to the short side. Right now, I've got the market open with this big run, and then I've got some points, support points to help me go into the long side. So here's a good support point in here. Another good point down here. And then all the way down to the bottom of that range, which is about 20 pips from here all the way down. So I really need this market to, it's got to go somewhere other than where it is right now if I'm going to go to the long side. This can be my first zone of entry in here. And then this also can be a second zone in here. And a third zone right at the bottom of that point. These are just little points I'm seeing of support that will help me to stay on the long side and give me ways to exit for profit as well as take losses as the market goes against me. So I blanket the market with orders, but I do it methodically and layers. And so as I enter in to the market with my layers, once I'm 3 layers deep into the market at that third layer, I'm now considering that third layer as a loss layer because it's starting to run far away from me. And so that's where I'll start to take losses manually. But I'll take the losses as the market comes back to me rather than the market running away from me. And that is the benefit of active risk management. Being able to take losses when the market is coming back to me rather than when the market's going away from me. And I haven't checked the news yet, so I'm going to do that now. So as I'm waiting for the market, I'm going to add a new scene in my OBS so I can show you guys what I'm doing on the internet. I don't have one of those set up yet, so I'm going to do that now. All right, so I think you guys should be able to see Forex Factory. Got that pulled up. Just gonna have a quick look over it with you guys. So at 7:30 this morning, we had a little bit of news on the CAD. It hasn't quite brought volatility into the market yet, being we're at almost 20 after 8. And then there's nothing else really. Bank of Canada Business Outlook at 9:30 this morning. That's an orange folder, so I don't expect that to do too much, especially for me on the euro dollar. So I just missed that little long entry. It just didn't quite come down far enough for me to get into it right in here. It would have been a good little entry, but it just wasn't quite as far as I wanted it to come down to me. And something that when you're trading is you really want to have the market come to you. You don't want to go chasing the market. So unfortunately I missed that little spot, but I will just wait for the next setup when it really comes to my spot, my zones. So now as time goes on, we've got new data to go with, and this is kind of a new support point in the market. And it's trying to break out to the top side, so if it comes down into here, I'll start with my longs. I'm also trading with 0.05 lot size in a 10K account, and that allows me a total of about 60 trades, maybe a little bit more. I won't use all of those trades. It's just what the platform will allow me to do. But as I enter into my layers, I will probably get up to a maximum of about 32 trades at 0.05. So as I'm adding into that, I will just demonstrate and show how I'm scaling into my position size. One more push back down into this little support point, and I can start getting into the market. And until I have people coming and interacting with me, it's probably going to be kind of slow and kind of boring. So I will do my best to just demonstrate what I'm doing. But if people end up joining in, I would love to take people's questions and hear people's thoughts on the market and make it a little bit more interactive. So hoping that will happen. in the near future. But for now, I guess it's going to be a monologue. Looks like I'm almost about to finally get into my first position. And it is just making new highs off these 1 minute pivots in here. There, finally. I need to turn that down. That's going to get super annoying. So my target is in just before the recent high, which is a decent spot. In this case, there's been a few more highs that have come in here, and it really would be better if I could have my target in under here. So my first layer of trades just needs to be one position, and then my second layer I can add two. Sometimes I just do one, sometimes it's two, depending on how far the market extends out. So now I've got these data points, and here I can shift this support point that I had. Oh, I can't grab it. But right in here, these are the new support lines in here. Otherwise, I'm going back to these support points back over here and in here. So in this zone, I'll get to add my second layer. But in this case, it may not drop below these current highs. So we'll just have to wait and see. I forgot to mark my starting balance for today. It is 9,969 and 52 cents. Coming really close into hitting the first target of the day. There we go, just got it. First trade, success. And now it is time to wait. This is going to be unbelievably boring. If I'm going to just be talking to myself the whole time. So here in the Eurodollar right now, it's just about well, looks like it's going to try and get to the top of this consolidation range as it breaks this high. If it breaks this high, there's a good chance it'll get to the top. So I'll be looking out for that. So I'm just going out on the longer term chart here to see whether I can find reasons to trade the short side of this market. So one of my rules is to not trade an outside range, and an outside range is when the market doesn't have any more support or resistance points. And so on my 1 minute chart, as soon as the market gotta figure this out, why it's doing this to me. It's not refreshing into the right spot. But as soon as the 1 minute chart breaks out of here over this high, this would be an outside range, at least on the 1 minute chart. But as I back out to the 15-minute chart, it's really not so much outside range. There's lots of support and resistance points to work with. So I'm going to mark out some other spots here on the 15-minute chart that I can work with if I'm going to short this, which I still think I'm going to, considering the speed that the market is moving at the moment. Just mark out some new points here to work with. Oh, okay. I'm going a little too far away. My stop losses are at 35 pips stop loss. And I don't use those. Those are just an ejection seat type exit if the market went totally crazy or something went really funny on me. Those are just like a safety net, but I am demonstrating active risk management where I take my losses manually. So I hope to not have to use those stop losses in real time, but they are there just in case as the emergency exit. But these points are getting too far away for me. So I may have to use some of these. Well, either I just wait and don't trade the short side, or I try and find some more points in here to work with. Yeah. So I do have these points of resistance that I can work with to the short side. So I'm going to consider taking the short side, especially because this market is still going really slow. I missed possibly one little entry right in there. Could have gone long again. And the market on the 1 minute chart here is continuing to push up. So right in here would be another good opportunity for a long entry. So now the market's finally coming back into another opportunity here. Into this little trend and these support points. And the target take profit is in right at these highs. Again, this would be a little bit better right here. So the market's coming right back up to the top, getting super close to taking profit again. Just another little push to test those highs, and it will gain a little more profit on the day. It's a super high probability, and that's where I always want to stay if I can. And there's the second profit of the day. When I hit those take profits, if I'm not adjusting that target, they should be about $1. They should be $1 each. But because I adjusted that one down to hit the little bit higher probability spot, I just made 75 cents on that last trade and 80 cents on the first trade. So sacrificed a tiny bit of profit for probability, and you can see the market right now, it's bouncing back down without, now it's crossing through, but it doesn't have to break these highs in order for me to get my profit, and that's what I want. I always want to be taking profit before the market has to break into new highs. So whether it continues through or not doesn't really matter. I already got my profits before it broke out, so that's good. And now the waiting game again. As this market kind of squeezes up into here, the chances of it at least trying to break up to the top in here is very high. It's a very high probability at this point, but I still need to wait to get my positions in the best spots, which for me is still back down here or at any of these points. If the market pulls back into there, I can't go long really at the tops, at the highs. I really have to wait for the market to pull back so I can enter into the longs. And when I go long in here, like when I add just one trade, it's very light. And so the way that I scale into this is as the market pulls back, I don't get into my full size until I've hit like 30 trades into the market. That's where I'm getting into my full size, and that's when the market has pulled back a significant amount into my long position. So I'm trading long, and I see this as a long trade up, setup, all the way down into here, into this point in the market. After that point, I'll have to figure out how I'm going to get out of my longs, which I can because I allocate my capital in ways that allow me to be flexible and do maneuvers, and I will be presenting and showing you guys that as the market does its thing. So it is just a matter of time, and it will get there, but it is a really slow start again for today. And you can see I took profit a few minutes ago, and it still hasn't broken these highs, so it was good to take a profit earlier than trying to break the tops. It may even give me another opportunity to go long again before it breaks, so that'd be kind of good. Market's trying to break that little trend line on the 1 minute chart. There's a really high chance it will come back down to this support point. And if it does, we'll get another opportunity to go long again. I don't really care which way it goes, I just need it to go somewhere. So there's the break on 1 minute chart of that little trend, and it is coming into this spot right in here. It's hitting these lows. It is on its second bar of breaking out. When the market breaks out, I like to wait 2 to 3 bars before getting into the market, so I'm not overextending myself or adding trades too quickly. It is just a rule that I have to keep my trade pace in line. So I'm not overpacing or overtrading. So now if this can push down back into this low, it'll give me an opportunity to go long again. And this is the third bar of the breakout, or the trend break. So time-wise, it's a good spot for me to start getting back into the market. I'm just waiting for it to try and get down a little bit further. Just because I want it to. Well, I guess I probably should have got in on those lows, but I just wanted it to come down a little bit more before getting into it, so I missed that trade. And actually, this is a large 1 minute candle, I think. Oh, it's not. It's only 3 pips. Wow, this market is so slow. So it's trying to break up now without me. Okay, here's a pullback. I'm gonna just get into this one in here. Oh no, it doesn't quite offer me enough for him to take profit before these highs, so I gotta hold off. Almost there now for another opportunity. I need 2 pips to get me in and out before that. Alright, finally, there we go. It's not, the target's just a little outside of where I want it to be. But it should still get back up there again. So that entry would have been a little bit better here rather than where I got in. But that's okay. I'll just have to wait for it to come down to any of these new points. And just a couple more minutes to the top of the hour. I hope that the top of the hour will bring a little bit more volatility, because this has been insanely slow again. I'm just going to clean the chart off again, and I'll just restart because it's getting a little bit messy and hard to see. Just clean everything up and start over. So here's the next level I want to get into based off of these lows in here. Then I'll look at, I think, just anywhere in this spot. So I'll just start here. That'll be the next area. And then we'll be down to here. Just going to measure that, make sure that these are, yep, 5 pips to there. It'll be 10 pips all the way down to there. These are good spots to add into the market. So I'll get to go into my second layer in here, in this zone right in here, and then I'll get into my third layer down in here. And at that point, I'll have to start taking losses on the first trade position. So here we go, is the second entry. Right in there. And almost the top of the hour, we should see some volatility and hopefully take some profits. If not, we'll come down into these lows and I'll get to show you some active risk management and take some losses. In this particular case, this trade target would have been better below these highs, or sorry, below these lows. So the target isn't in exactly the greatest spot, but I mean, I just barely mistimed it. If I got it a little bit lower, it would allow me to get my targets just before those lows, which would be ideal. But regardless, I'm just going to let that one sit, and it will get there if it gets there. Actually, both targets. This one, it was a little bit high, so I'm going to just bring that down below these highs in here. I want it to take profit without having to break those highs. Here we go. See, you can see the market's just bouncing. It's pausing on those lows. We just pushed through and took profit. So that is the third trade hitting profit. And now we'll just get to wait and see if it continues back up. Maybe we can hit that one. If not, if the market comes back down, it'll give me another opportunity to go long again. So either way, if it goes down, I can enter into the market. If it goes up, we just take more profit. So just needed to keep moving. And it is 9 o'clock now. It's 9:02. So we could see the activity come back in and maybe get some more movement. The stock market open is 27 minutes from now. That will also bring more participants into the currencies market. So now I need the market to come back down here before I go long again. And this is just so much about patience and discipline. And those things are characteristics that take time to build. And it's taken me a long time to build those. I'm not naturally a very patient person when it comes to work, especially. I like to get things done. And so it is hard to just sit here and wait. But when you get stung by not being patient so many times, then patience just starts to come a little bit more naturally. When you get hurt because you're impatient, you take losses, you lose money because of your impatience. It slowly works the patience into you. So the market is always working on us. Whether we like it or not, if you're sitting here trading, the market is working on you. And sitting in front of the market builds character. So as the market breaks these highs here in the 1 minute chart, right in here as it breaks those, that starts to open up the door for this to run all the way to the top of these highs. And so that take profit, that target's in a good spot to take profit before having to break these highs. So we'll see if it can get there. Sure hope it does. I just hope it does something. trying to make its break to the top. So the market made another try here on that last. I'm just going to add some history back onto the chart and look at the previous trades. So we had one from in here, and the second one was over here. We had a third one take profit there. Now we're just waiting to see if we can get a fourth one or come back down to retest these lows. But that is pretty slow for the first hour of trading to only get 1, 2, 3 trades. So really slow start, but it is nice to continually and consistently bring in some profits. So far good performance, but it would sure be nice if the market would pick up. just drawing this line here to see where the next trend line is. See if there's any reason I can get into a position in here a little bit higher than the last one, because chances are it's going to make a higher high, so that right in here might be the next opportunity. There we go. And that allows the market to bounce off this 1 minute trend and some of this other support, so it's a good spot right in there for an entry. And then if it breaks this trend, be looking at some of these lows back over here to start getting into a little bit heavier size position, which I'm just waiting for it to do that. I would like it to go against me so I can start getting into some trades. But for now, got one more position in, and we'll just see if that can take profit or whether it's going to go down. Eventually, as you keep learning to trade, the process ends up getting boring because you've done it so many times. But at that point, your results are what are exciting. Kind of boring performance, just super slow and patient while you're executing your trading, and then the results are what are exciting. When you see that you can consistently bring in profits, it starts to be really cool. So, good trading is fairly boring, but the results are really cool. So I'm willing to sit and wait patiently to find some exciting results. V. So it's now been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and we just hit our take profit, and that was the fourth one of today. And just go look at the history. That one was 95 cents, so just shy of $1 on that one. So just added about $1. And then we'll see what's next. If this market comes back down, it'll give me another opportunity to go long again. Or if it goes up, you can also take profit. I think what will be interesting to see is when this market starts to run away from me. That's when you'll get to see how I execute taking losses as the market starts to go away from me and it comes back. You will see me start to take losses and how I do that. I think that'll be more interesting if it gets there. This is just a really slow start to the day. So we'll see what happens. the market is just trying to break this old high over here, these body highs. That's opening up the door for this to go and test these highs back over here. So this is kind of looking good right now to go and pop up and hit the target here. So we'll see if it can do that. I'm gonna zoom in here, watch it really close. Looks more exciting when it's all zoomed in. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. Okay, guys, it's been an hour and a half of me monologuing. It is kind of hard to do that, but regardless, it was a good trade session. I'm gonna probably call it quits for today. It's just gonna be hard for me to go much longer than this without having anybody to interact with, but I'm expecting to do this now for the next couple weeks. So, first day was awesome. Got 5 trades, just a little less than $5 in the account today. It's a slow start, but $5 more than where I started. We didn't get to see real market moves where the market's running against me, and I can show you how I'm taking losses in real time and doing active risk management. I just happened to be on the right side of the market for the first hour and a half. So a little bit of boring trading, but again, it is exciting results. And